Implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports by Q1 2024, for strategic phases in $5 million allocation for compliance adjustments. Overview. The implementation of new tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports is set to take effect by Q1 2024. This significant initiative is structured into 4 strategic phases with a financial allocation of $5 million designated for compliance adjustments. The aim is to ensure a balanced transition for domestic industries while addressing the realities of global trade dynamics. Key points and strategic phases. 1. Strategic phases. The rollout of the tariff policies is divided into 4 distinct phases. Phase 1, Stakeholder Engagement, early 2024. The first phase focuses on consultations with industry stakeholders including manufacturers, importers, and trade associations. This stage is crucial for gathering input and addressing concerns that may arise from the new policies. Phase 2, Compliance Monitoring, set up mid-Q1 2024. Following stakeholder engagement, the government will establish compliance monitoring systems to ensure that companies adhere to the new tariffs. This phase will also involve preliminary checks and guidance to assist businesses in understanding the regulations. Phase 3, Economic Impact Assessment, late Q1 2024. The third phase involves assessing the economic impacts of the tariffs on domestic industries. This includes evaluating how the tariffs affect production costs, pricing, and overall market competitiveness. Phase 4, Ongoing Adjustments and Feedback Incorporation, post Q1 2024. The final phase is dedicated to ongoing assessments and adjustments based on real-time feedback from stakeholders and market conditions. This iterative process will allow for necessary modifications to the policies to enhance effectiveness and minimize disruptions. 2. Financial allocation. A budget of $5 million has been allocated to support compliance adjustments. This funding is intended to provide resources for training and education programs for businesses on the new tariff regulations, financial assistance for small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs) that may face challenges in adapting to the new tariff landscape, development of tools and resources to facilitate compliance monitoring and reporting. 3. Stakeholder engagement. Engaging with industry stakeholders is a core component of the implementation process. The government aims to facilitate open lines of communication between policymakers and industry representatives, organize workshops and forums to discuss the implications of the tariffs and gather feedback, establish a feedback loop to ensure that stakeholder concerns are addressed promptly and effectively. 4. Compliance and monitoring. Continuous compliance checks will be instituted to evaluate the effectiveness of the tariff policies. This includes regular assessments of how companies are adapting to the tariffs, monitoring of steel and aluminum pricing trends in domestic and international markets, adjustments to the tariffs based on economic conditions and stakeholder feedback. Common themes across sources. Phased approach. The emphasis on a phased implementation allows for flexibility and the capacity to make adjustments as necessary based on stakeholder feedback and market dynamics. Financial support. The allocated budget is viewed as crucial for minimizing disruptions in the supply chain and maintaining competitiveness in the steel and aluminum sectors. Collaboration importance. There is a consensus on the necessity of industry collaboration for the successful execution of the new policies, ensuring that they are practical and beneficial for all parties involved. Differences between sources. While the strategic phases and financial allocation are widely agreed upon, some sources highlight different aspects. Immediate impacts on small businesses. Some emphasize how compliance adjustments might affect small businesses in the short term, focusing on the challenges they may face during the transition. Long-term national economic implications.
Others may concentrate more on the broader economic implications for the national steel industry, assessing how the tariffs might reshape competitive dynamics at a macroeconomic level. Timeline of events.
Q4 2023, initial announcements made regarding the upcoming tariff policies and the strategic phases of implementation. Early 2024, official rollout of the first phase emphasizing stakeholder consultations and initial compliance checks.
Q1 2024, full implementation of the tariff policies begins,
accompanied by ongoing assessments and adjustments based on feedback and market performance.
Conclusion.
The comprehensive framework established for the implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports aims to balance the needs of domestic industries with the realities of global trade dynamics. With a structured approach and adequate resource allocation, the government seeks to ensure that Canada's steel and aluminum sectors remain robust and competitive in the face of new tariffs. The proactive planning reflects a commitment to addressing potential challenges while fostering a collaborative environment among stakeholders. The implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports in Canada set for Q1 2024 represents a multifaceted approach to addressing both economic and compliance challenges. Here are the counterintuitive elements identified in the content. 1. Phased implementation versus immediate impact. While the phased approach is designed to allow for gradual adjustment and feedback, it may paradoxically lead to immediate disruptions in the market. Businesses may be uncertain about future phases, prompting them to preemptively alter their operations or pricing strategies, which can create volatility in the short term. 2. $5 million budget for compliance. The allocation of $5 million for compliance adjustments may seem substantial, yet it is relatively minor in the context of the steel and aluminum industries, which are often multi-billion-dollar sectors. This raises questions about the sufficiency of the funding to effectively support businesses, especially smaller ones, in adapting to the new tariffs. 3. Stakeholder engagement as a double-edged sword. Engaging stakeholders is typically viewed as positive, however, it might also lead to delays in implementation if conflicting interests arise. The need for consensus could slow down the rollout process, countering the intent of a timely implementation. 4. Compliance monitoring versus business flexibility. The emphasis on ongoing compliance checks may instill a culture of fear among businesses regarding potential penalties for non-compliance. This could stifle innovation and agility within companies as they become overly cautious in their operations, thus limiting their ability to adapt quickly to market changes. 5. Domestic industry protection versus global competitiveness. While the tariffs aim to protect domestic industries, they could inadvertently make Canadian steel and aluminum less competitive globally. If domestic producers raise prices in response to tariffs, they risk losing market share to foreign competitors who might not face similar restrictions. 6. Long-term economic implications versus short-term disruption. The focus on long-term economic stability may overlook the immediate challenges faced by industries during the transition. Businesses may experience cash flow issues or layoffs even as the government seeks to ensure a stable market in the future, leading to a disconnect between policy goals and real-world outcomes. 7. Consensus across sources on strategic phases. The agreement among various sources on the strategic phases may create an illusion of uniformity in understanding the issue. However, the underlying interpretations and implications of each phase could vary significantly among stakeholders, leading to divergent experiences in the implementation process. 8. Government proactivity versus market reaction. The government's proactive approach, including financial and strategic planning, might not align with market reactions. Businesses often operate based on real-time market conditions, which can change more rapidly than government policies can adapt. This disconnect might result in unforeseen challenges that the government is not prepared to address. 9. Focus on compliance versus innovation. The stringent focus on compliance and monitoring might detract from the importance of fostering innovation within the industry. Companies could become so preoccupied with meeting regulatory requirements that they neglect to invest in new technologies or processes that could enhance their competitiveness.
10. International trade dynamics versus domestic stability. The attempt to balance domestic industry needs with global trade dynamics might lead to a scenario where neither objective is fully achieved.
The tariffs could provoke retaliatory measures from other countries, resulting in a trade war that damages both domestic and international economic stability. These counterintuitive elements highlight the complexities and potential pitfalls associated with the implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports, demonstrating that the anticipated benefits may come with unexpected challenges. The implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports set to take effect by Q1 2024 is a multifaceted initiative that encompasses various strategic components. While the report outlines the primary elements of this initiative, there are several significant aspects that are easily overlooked but carry considerable weight in determining the success of these policies and their long-term implications for the industry.
1. Phased implementation and flexibility. The report delineates the implementation process into 4 strategic phases. While most discussions focus on the immediate aspects of these phases, the importance of flexibility in this approach is often underappreciated. The phased rollout allows for real-time feedback and adjustments based on market conditions and stakeholder input. This adaptability is crucial in a volatile global market where unexpected economic shifts can occur rapidly. Overlooking this aspect could lead stakeholders to underestimate the importance of continual evaluation and adaptation in policy implementation. Significance.
Flexibility is vital for mitigating risks associated with sudden market changes, ensuring that the tariff policies remain relevant and effective.
Stakeholders must be prepared for ongoing dialogues and adjustments rather than viewing the implementation as a one-time event. 2. Stakeholder engagement as a core component. The emphasis on stakeholder engagement is a critical theme that deserves more attention than it typically receives. While the report highlights that stakeholder input is essential, the implications of this engagement extend beyond mere consultation. Effective stakeholder collaboration can lead to better-informed policies that reflect the realities of the market, thereby enhancing the likelihood of compliance and success. Significance.
Engagement can foster a sense of ownership among stakeholders, making them more likely to support and adhere to the new regulations. Furthermore, understanding the concerns and needs of various industry players helps to tailor policies in a way that minimizes disruption and maximizes economic benefits.
3. Economic impact assessment.
In the report, there is an acknowledgement of the need for ongoing assessments of the economic impacts on domestic industries, yet the depth of these assessments is not elaborated upon.
The economic implications of tariff policies can be profound,
affecting everything from pricing strategies to employment levels within the industry.
Understanding the potential ripple effects on the broader economy is crucial for stakeholders who may not fully grasp how tariffs can alter competitive dynamics. Significance. A thorough economic impact assessment can guide policy adjustments and help minimize unintended consequences. It also assists businesses in strategic planning and risk management, providing a clearer picture of how they might need to adapt to the new market landscape. 4. Compliance monitoring as a long-term strategy. The report mentions compliance checks and monitoring but tends to treat these as routine administrative tasks rather than as integral components of the policy's success. Ongoing compliance monitoring is crucial for understanding how effectively the tariffs are being implemented and whether they are achieving their intended goals. The significance of this aspect is often overlooked, leading to potential gaps in enforcement and oversight. Significance. Effective compliance monitoring can provide valuable data that informs future policy decisions and ensures that businesses are not only adhering to the regulations but also benefiting from them. It can reveal patterns in market behavior that could necessitate further adjustments to the tariff structure. 5. Resource allocation and its role in compliance. The allocation of $5 million for compliance adjustments is a noteworthy detail, yet its implications are often underestimated. This funding is not merely a contingency, it represents a proactive investment in the industry's capacity to adapt to new regulations.
The significance of this financial support lies in its potential to minimize disruptions and enhance the competitiveness of domestic producers in the face of global competition.
Significance: properly allocated resources can empower businesses, particularly smaller firms that may lack the financial means to adapt quickly. This support can be a game changer, enabling them to invest in necessary changes without jeopardizing their operations.
6. Long-term competitiveness of domestic industries. While the report touches on maintaining competitiveness, the long-term implications of tariffs on domestic industries require deeper exploration. The relationship between tariffs, domestic production, and global supply chains is complex and often misunderstood. Overlooking this aspect can lead to a narrow view of the potential benefits and challenges posed by the tariffs.
Significance:
a well-structured tariff policy can enhance the competitiveness of domestic industries by leveling the playing field against foreign imports. However, if not carefully managed, it could also lead to retaliatory measures or increased prices for consumers,
undermining the intended benefits.
Stakeholders must consider both the immediate and long-term effects on market positioning and global trade dynamics.
Conclusion:
the implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports is not simply a regulatory change, it is a comprehensive strategy that requires careful consideration of various interconnected factors. By recognizing and addressing the significant yet often overlooked elements such as flexibility in the phased approach, the importance of stakeholder engagement, thorough economic impact assessments, ongoing compliance monitoring, resource allocation, and the long-term competitiveness of domestic industries,
stakeholders can better navigate the complexities of these new policies.
Understanding these nuances is vital for ensuring that the tariff implementation achieves its intended goals of supporting domestic industries while adapting to the realities of a globalized market.
1. Strategic phases of implementation. The phased approach to the implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports is critical for effective management and adjustment.
Each of the 4 phases is designed to address specific components of the policy, including stakeholder engagement, compliance monitoring, and economic impact assessment. This systematic rollout allows for flexibility and adjustments based on feedback and evolving market conditions, ensuring that the tariffs can be effectively integrated into the existing trade framework without causing significant disruption to domestic industries.
2. Financial allocation for compliance adjustments. The allocation of $5 million specifically for compliance adjustments is a vital component of this initiative.
This funding is aimed at supporting businesses as they navigate the new tariffs, helping them to address potential challenges and align with regulatory requirements. By providing financial resources, the government aims to minimize disruptions in the supply chain, maintain competitiveness, and foster resilience in the steel and aluminum sectors, which are crucial for the national economy.
3. Importance of stakeholder engagement. Engaging with industry stakeholders is emphasized as a cornerstone of the implementation process. This engagement is necessary for gathering input, addressing concerns,
and ensuring that the policies reflect the realities faced by domestic producers. The emphasis on collaboration indicates a recognition of the complexities within the market and aims to create a more inclusive decision-making process. Ensuring that stakeholders are involved can lead to more tailored policies that better serve the industry and help mitigate any adverse effects of the tariffs. 4. Compliance monitoring and economic impact assessment. The establishment of ongoing compliance checks and monitoring is essential to evaluate the effectiveness of the tariff policies. This involves assessing how companies adapt to the tariffs and the resulting impact on pricing within both domestic and international markets.
Continuous monitoring allows for timely adjustments based on observed outcomes and stakeholder feedback,
ensuring that the policies achieve their intended goals without unintended negative consequences for the economy or specific sectors. This proactive approach can help the government respond swiftly to challenges and capitalize on opportunities as they arise during the implementation phase. 1. Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act 1930. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act was a significant piece of legislation in the United States that raised tariffs on numerous imports to protect domestic industries during the Great Depression. The act aimed to boost American manufacturing by imposing high duties on foreign goods, particularly agricultural and industrial products. However, it led to retaliatory tariffs from other countries, resulting in a sharp decline in international trade and exacerbating the economic downturn. The consequences of the Smoot-Hawley tariff highlighted the risks associated with protectionist policies and the importance of maintaining open trade relationships. 2. Section 232 Tariffs on Steel and Aluminum 2018. In 2018, the U.S. government implemented Section 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, citing national security concerns. These tariffs, which imposed a 25% tariff on steel and 10% on aluminum, aimed to revitalize the domestic steel and aluminum industries and address concerns about overcapacity in global markets. The decision faced significant backlash from various stakeholders, including domestic manufacturers relying on imported metals, allies who imposed retaliatory tariffs, and consumers facing higher prices. The Section 232 tariffs sparked debates on their effectiveness, leading to discussions about trade policy and national security. 3. European Union anti-dumping duties on Chinese steel 2016. In 2016, the European Union imposed anti-dumping duties on imports of Chinese steel, targeting products that were sold at prices below their production costs. This measure aimed to protect the EU steel industry from what was perceived as unfair competition due to China's overproduction and aggressive pricing strategies. The duties were part of broader efforts by global trade authorities to combat dumping practices and ensure fair competition. The case illustrates the complexities of international trade relations and the ongoing struggle to balance domestic industry protection with global market dynamics. Future outlook: predictions for the implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports by Q1 2024. 1. Short-term economic adjustments 2024 to 2025. As the tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports take effect in Q1 2024, the immediate economic landscape will likely experience volatility. Domestic producers may initially benefit from reduced competition from imports, potentially leading to increased production capacities and job creation within the domestic steel and aluminum sectors. However, small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs) may face challenges due to higher material costs and the need for compliance with new regulations. Predictions. Market reactions: expect fluctuations in pricing for steel and aluminum as the market adjusts to the tariffs. Prices may rise, initially driven by reduced imports and increased domestic demand. Supply chain disruptions: the $5 million allocated for compliance adjustments will be critical but may only partially mitigate disruptions in the supply chain. Industries reliant on imported steel and aluminum could face higher costs, leading to potential layoffs or business closures in the most vulnerable sectors. 2. Midterm industry resilience 2025 to 2026. By mid-2025, industries will begin to adapt to the new tariff landscape. Compliance monitoring and stakeholder engagement will play significant roles in this phase. The government's proactive approach to gather input from stakeholders will help refine policies and address unforeseen challenges. Predictions. Increased competitiveness over time. Domestic producers will likely enhance their competitive edge as they adjust to the tariffs. Innovations in production processes or materials may emerge as companies seek to reduce costs. Investment in domestic production: the tariff policies may stimulate investment in domestic steel and aluminum production, leading to technological advancements and increased efficiency. Companies may pursue greener production methods to align with global sustainability goals, potentially attracting additional funding and partnerships. 3. Long-term global trade dynamics 2027 to 2030. In the longer term, the effects of the tariff policies will extend beyond immediate economic adjustments. Global trade dynamics will evolve as countries respond to Canada's tariff measures, potentially igniting trade disputes or prompting retaliatory tariffs. Predictions. International relations. Canada may face diplomatic challenges as affected countries respond to these tariffs. Trade negotiations could become more complex, with potential repercussions for other sectors dependent on international trade. Market diversification. Canadian companies may seek to diversify their supply chains, reducing reliance on particular foreign markets. This shift could lead to the establishment of new trade partnerships, particularly with countries that share similar economic interests or values. 4. Technological innovation and sustainability 2030 and beyond. As the steel and aluminum industries evolve, a significant shift towards sustainability and technological innovation is anticipated. Companies will likely invest in cleaner technologies and practices driven by both regulatory requirements and consumer demand for sustainable products. Predictions. Green steel initiatives. The push for lower carbon emissions will lead to advancements in green steel production techniques such as hydrogen-based steelmaking or electric arc furnaces, significantly altering the industry landscape. Circular economy models. Industries may adopt circular economy practices focusing on recycling and reusing materials, which will enhance sustainability and reduce the environmental impact of steel and aluminum production. 5. Regulatory and policy implications post-2030. As the initial phase of the tariff policies concludes, the government will likely reassess the effectiveness and impact of these measures. Continuous monitoring and stakeholder feedback will be essential to refine and adapt the policies. Predictions. Policy adjustments. Depending on the outcomes observed in domestic markets and industries, the government may adjust tariffs or introduce new regulations aimed at promoting fair trade while supporting local industries. Enhanced compliance frameworks. Ongoing compliance monitoring will evolve, potentially leading to more sophisticated regulatory frameworks that address emerging challenges in the steel and aluminum sectors. Conclusion. The implementation of tariff policies on steel and aluminum imports marks a significant turning point for Canada's domestic industries. While the initial phases will present challenges, especially for SMEs, the long-term outlook suggests potential benefits in competitiveness, innovation, and sustainability. Stakeholder engagement and a proactive approach to compliance will be vital in navigating the complexities of this transition, shaping a resilient and adaptive future for Canada's steel and aluminum sectors.